a place right at the crossing of the two major streets in this minor little town. It used to be kind of a big deal. Now it's something past dead. Apparently, it's been broken into yet again. When I walked by here the other day, this door was actually hanging open by a foot or so. Whoever broke in was probably looking for shelter from the sun, because it's pretty obvious, looking in through the windows and doors, that there's nothing else of value in there. It's the 30th of July, 2023. It is the 30th of July, 2023. It's been about 2 weeks since I shot and edited and uploaded a real video. It's been about 2 weeks since I've been here. In my absence, somebody's been down here with heavy equipment, judging by the tracks. Sunflower, you're almost more beautiful in your decrepit state, in your drought way. I'm just here as a journalist, although that's too fancy a name for it. I don't imagine I'll have a whole lot to say about those 2 missing weeks. I'm gonna put in a walk, a double walk, a penance walk today. And then I'm going to jump back to the beginning of those 2 weeks. And I'm going to lay some footage on you from then. The last time there was quality footage, as yet unposted. Well, you'll get it next. I hope it means something to you. I hope it works for you in some way. I hope you stand tall like a sunflower, waiting for the monsoon. Yesterday was the fourth of the 4 hottest days of the year, theoretically. In the afternoon, we did get a bit of monsoonal buildup. 5 o'clock in the morning, maybe about 15 minutes before sunrise proper, and I'm ready to go down and in to the holy side. The monsoonal pattern proper, only a few weeks late. So just as we had guessed, day before yesterday, when we were on the thistle blossom side, the upstream side of the river, the downstream side is pretty much dry in advance of those highly theoretical, isolated thunderstorms. I'm showing you the real view right here with the GoPro, but in the next clip, when I get down however far I can get, I'm gonna whip out the G7 and compare what the difference between this shot is and similar shots with the much better camera. The much better camera. Panasonic G7. And right about here, where you can see the banks still wet and kind of cut in, roughly speaking, this is as far as we've been. I think I edged up that bank on the thin strip of barely dry sand a little further, technically. My goal is to run clear down another half mile or so. So just to kind of show you here, this is the point where the northern bank becomes pretty much impassable, or would be if there was any water here at all. The south bank still looks pretty clear. There's a shot of the bridge now far away to the east. What's sort of amazing to me about the situation that we find ourselves in here today is that if I hadn't started walking in this purposeful, exploratory way when I did, I may well have missed the opportunity to be here in these few days of the very most dry conditions. Tiny little frog hopping in the mud chips right here. I lost visual on him though. That's okay. Hide yourself away. Live to be amphibious when those floodwaters come. surging down. And looking back, the bridge is just barely still in view. But it won't be up there. And that is what it turns out I'm after today. So as you might be able to tell from that sound, I think that up around this bend, we are even closer to the railroad, but we are very far away from the crossing, and the horn noise, therefore, was very faint indeed. Eventually, it started getting a little too mucky over there on the north bank, even now. So I crossed over to the south, partly to avoid the muck, but partly to attend to some business. The business is not knowing how many more times in this dry season I might have the opportunity to get this far. What are the alternative ways, potential alternative ways of getting here? So I'm going to do a quick investigation of this south bank to see where the heck I am, in particular in relation to settlements, and maybe even more importantly, on the north bank. I'm interested in finding out if there isn't more of an overland route to get up this far. Because in a few days or a few weeks, what I just did is going to be nominally impossible. Because the water will come back. The water will fall. All right. South Bank. It seems like we should be way far from the creek. But actually, we are pretty much down in it, depending on the time of year. Now, I'm not exactly 100% sure what that black, brown building is, but I'm pretty sure that taking a drive out McLaws Road, I could recognize it for what it was. I'm going to skulk just a little bit closer. Is that telephone wire going across there? I'm going to guess that that tracks with McLaws Road and that it will make it relatively easy jumping in a vehicle to see exactly where we are. I'm experimenting today. So, this is as far as we're going to go today. But what I still want to do, and with all those habitations, it's even more important, is to cross over to the north bank and try and see what I can do to find a way back that is an overland route to this deeper downstream. That would be very useful. It's probably going to involve a lot of backtracking and dead ends. And by the time I get home today, it's probably going to be proper hot. But that's okay. When opportunity presents itself, you grab it up, right? Isn't that what all the best business people say? So I'm going to get grabbing. Switched back over to the GoPro. Past that snag and to those very tall trees would be the place to aim for. Oh my God. I'm on the GoPro and I'm looking straight at a hummingbird. Now I wish I had the big camera up. Anyway, I'm sure you won't be able to see that, but it was cool. What I've found is what appears to be a road that hasn't been used in a long time. There's a truck on the interstate. 2 trucks, 3 trucks on the interstate up that direction. And where we are is probably just past the edge of town. Pretty sure I recognize that warehouse. Well, what have we here? What a felicitous little inlet, opening, portal, door, gate. Sometime I'll explain why that matters. One thing I will tell you is that I understand a little bit better now why that flood wall comes out this far. Because it looks like the river is so far away. But this little piece of land that I just crossed, with plenty of effort involved, is actually all floodplain. Some of it with channels cut into it by the water. So at some point down the line, in the wettest parts of the year, this too may end up being impassable. But for now, and for the foreseeable summer, early fall future, I think this is going to be our route. Is this little road at the bottom of the flood wall. Y'all be well. The Datura, after all, does not give up all of its secrets just because someone comes along and stands there looking like they're waiting for an answer. I think this one time I'll go back to the old ways. And I'll learn from that. The road at the base of the flood wall, such as it was, has grown very nearly impenetrable, impassable. Right down here in the interstice is a particularly lovely